Hi, it's Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories. Here today with the real, the original, the one and only John Kennedy Jr. Hey, John, how are you?
I am doing awesome. Like I always say, every day I get to spend time and chat with you is a wonderful day.
Thanks for saying that. It's always so fun, isn't it? Basically we get to say pretty much anything we want. And I love that, like that's the freedom of speech thing.
Yeah, and it's awesome because they don't want this out, and we're getting it out.
Right?
They, it's organized crime members at the highest level in our government, and they don't want this story out, and we're getting it out right here.
Right.
Stolen identity.
Right. So if you haven't read the book or listened to the previous videos, please read this book and please promote the book. Like if you have the funds, buy an extra copy and pass it along. What I did is I asked my library to borrow or to buy the book, which they did. I then wrote a review for the book at the library and I chatted it up to the librarians. Sometimes they feature newer books up in the front where the counter is. So it's got to spread the grassroots way because the censorship is getting worse and worse and worse. So usually what happens is we'll do a live video. Okay. I edit it and then I put it into the video category, an edited video, which I did last time. It would not let me upload it. It kept giving me error messages and then it said video not approved. No reason whatsoever. And
Oh, wow.
yeah. So, and it's not the first time that's happened, but it feels like they're getting more stringent when the censorship again.
And to your listeners, I've been asking everybody if they can do me a solid, uh, utmost favor. Stolen identity, just put it in your search engines. Let's get all the search engines aware that this book is out. They don't want it out, and we're getting it out. We're little by little, every day. If anybody is able to hear this truthful story, it's a blessing. It's a godsend.
Right.
It really is.
Right. So we had talked, well, maybe last week, and I had said that this one story is going to ripple out to every person, basically in the world. Okay, one story of corruption against one person and all the players that have done what they've done. When that story gets out, it's going to ripple out to all the governmental agencies. Everybody is going to be affected. It's affected our economic system. It's affected government. It's affected everything. And it's going to be probably shocking when that story comes out, how much things will change. Society is going to change after hearing this story. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, whatever we can do. I sent the book to a congressman. Um, I didn't get a reply, but our government's been taken over with identity theft.
Yeah.
And if we can wake these people up that, hey, we're getting it out, even if they are part of the organized crime ring.
Yeah.
I was replaced. Everybody knew my replacement, George Onassis, a member of a brutal crime ring, the Gambino crime family. And I'm sharing. Our government's been taken over by these criminals, this organized crime ring. And I piss a lot of Donald Trump supporters off, but he's right in there with them, people. It's all about him. It's all about money. It's not about us. You get the poor people waving their flags for Donald Trump, hoping that he's the savior, and he's just put in place to deceive you. That's all. It needs to be we the people for we the people, and not government. And my story is bigger and deeper than people can imagine.
Right.
It trickles down to everyone in the world. It really, really does on what these people in power can do and how they take lives, replace people's lives, all for the power and money to keep the power in government. And they're not there to help us at all.
Right.
They're really not.
Right. Look, they assassinated your dad in broad daylight in front of the world. No fear there. They covered it up with a really flimsy story. And why aren't the records out yet? I wonder.
Because the records aren't out because
They're
they'll
incriminating.
expose themselves.
Yeah.
It's that simple. They won't. Donald Trump won't release the files. None of them will release the files because they're exposing their crime ring that they've been put in place
Right.
by organized crime, and it goes to all our agencies. You know, I thought our agencies would help bring me out. They all take an oath. You know, we're going to do the best we can possibly do to protect the United States, and they failed on that oath by not helping me get the story out and get justice
Right.
for all the murders and all
Right.
the cover-ups. And it's huge. I didn't know it would be this hard, but they would be exposing themselves to help me.
Yeah.
So it's all about getting the story out and let's expose them. They won't do it because, like I said, they'll be exposing themselves for the worst crimes and covering those crimes up.
Right.
But let's expose them, and we can make things better.
Right. So in the past videos, we've talked about why organized crime does what they do. So they'll murder someone, they'll put a double in, they take their property, their wealth, their power, their position, their control, and they get all of that for essentially free. All right. And they do it over and over and over. They put their people in power in, celebrity positions, Hollywood, music, politicians, anyone that's an
Everything,
influencer. Yeah. So everything
everything.
everything that we're watching is pretty much fake. Okay. And so if you're starting to awaken, you're going to look around and say, that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't seem logical. These laws don't seem like, they're for the people. Why aren't they doing something about this or that? That's your clue. All right. Those are clues. Things are not the way they should be. All right. And
And
they've
it's
done it
crazy at the
with
top.
purpose. They're very organized. All right. And that's the problem. If the common person stood, we stood together and stopped buying the products and services out there, or stopped banking or whatever for a few days in a row, that would shut the economy down. Okay, that would get attention. We have power, but we're not. We're looking at our phones, we're watching videos and movies, we're doing whatever. We're not focused on this. This is a really big, important story. And
My story,
yeah,
our story, the people's story should be on every mainstream channel right now.
yeah,
Scott Peterson, Lacey Peterson story. When they want a story out, when they want to make it public, when they want to wave things around that they've done, organized crime done, is all in your face. But it's all controlled. It's all a regime now run by this little organization of mafia, gangsters, criminals,
yeah,
suits, people in suits, billionaires. They,
yeah.
they, they don't give a shit about us.
Yeah, they don't. And it's really sad because we we live in a beautiful world, and we like to think those that have been elected, air quote elected, care about us and they have our best interest at heart. And like you said before, selected, not elected. Many of these people are put into place at an early age. They're groomed for that position when they're children even.
And
And
then the media puts it all over the place day after
yeah,
day, and it's programming exactly what
yeah,
programming.
yeah,
You'll go to Fox, it'll be the same thing. You go to CNN, it'll be the same thing. Over and over and over again, you'll see Donald Trump, you'll see Biden, over and over and over again. It's all programming.
right,
Which one are you going to choose? The only thing is, which one are you going to choose? You're choosing for the both sides. It's the same
right.
ring that they're allowing it to happen, but it's a regime. It's all, and I'm finding out the hard way. Um, platform after platform being
Yeah,
taken down
yeah,
on the biggest story of the century, taken down. Um, I need to figure out a platform of my own to get in touch with the true people that are awake. With that said, I'm planning a show with Dr. Kia Pruitt to have Whitney Houston's daughter on there and Ron Anthony. Ron Anthony also lost his children. He was involved in Hollywood, but we're planning a show to get everybody and share the stories of what they've gone through and all this too. There's so
Okay.
many people involved. Um, this crime ring has affected so many people.
Yeah, yeah. When is this show scheduled for?
It's not yet.
Oh, okay, okay. You'll let
Yeah,
me know.
it's just in the plans. We're trying to get people that have a story to share all together and get it out. I've been contacted by so many people. Like I said, my platforms get taken down, they're blocked, shadow banned, hindered. Um, if I could afford it, I would really like to start a website and have everybody join. I've had dozens, and I mean dozens over the years of people say, "Hey, my husband was murdered. My children have been murdered," from different people, all affected by this crime ring in government that can cover murders up. And I've been contacted by somebody, but I can't do anything. I'm not in the position to do anything. I'm trying to just get a platform out to share my story now, with the help of you. Thank goodness, and others. It's awesome, but I really, in my heart, need to, and I'm a biker. I'm not a computer whiz and wouldn't even know how to start a website, let alone check it every day and message people, but it's got to be done. So I got some learning to do, I guess.
Well, I'm sure people would help you, but it's picking the right people with the right intent, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, they threw a lot of people out with, I mean, right at first with the wrong intent.
right.
Um, People are still pretending to be me. It's sad. There was people start websites um, and started selling merchandise, and people started pretending to be me on these websites. And they were like, yeah, a great example. There was a guy that did an article in Canada. I believe it might have been Quebec, but he wrote me a letter, certified letter, and it said that he had been chatting with me the whole time. And I was like, I've never talked to you ever. And it was like, so I called this person out that started these websites and all this other selling merchandise for me, and they admitted it. They flat out admitted it. And then it got really crazy because they had followers that were supporting me, and they turned on me also. Started calling Robin the worst names in the world. These people were pretending to be me. And it was like, first thing you don't do is talk shit about my old lady.
Yeah. Well, plus we've talked about this before. There has been a group out there that's taken your identity now on, I think, TikTok, and they've been messaging people, saying hi and asking basically for contribution. And you're not doing that. You do have links in the description below if people choose to contribute, but you're not actively talking with them. And those are corrupt people. And unfortunately,
I
people,
would never, I would
people
never
are,
in my heart and soul message anyone and ask them for anything. I don't care if I was hungry that day. I wouldn't do it. It's just
yeah,
not in my soul to do that.
yeah.
But the day my son passed away, the day I found my son's body, the day I had a platform on TikTok, 45,000 followers. There was fake accounts popping up left and right. There's over five now that are they looked identical to mine, but they removed my account with 45,000 followers and left all these fake accounts to roam free on TikTok, pretending to be me. It's almost like it was a setup. I think I did an interview with you, and I was like, I don't know if it's good or bad. Well, now I know it was
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
deceive people.
We did talk
Not
about
good at
it
all.
we talked about it a couple times and we weren't sure what the intent was. Well, now we know. Like, I don't know why
Yeah.
we didn't know that earlier, but at first we thought, well, good, this will get more views for these videos, but that didn't happen. They started contacting people for money. Okay, so if
Exactly.
contacted, that is fraudulent, okay? Although contributions that go to John are for, of course, living expenses. He's been buying books to hand out to people. So that does cost him money. He has to buy his own book. And then for your upcoming trip, whenever it is to Arlington, to place your book on your dad's grave. So those are the three projects you'd be funding.
Yeah, there even Venmo. If my Venmo account is still up on any platforms, do not contribute to my Venmo. There was a guy said, "Hey, I got a couple $100 I want to give you." I met this guy, wonderful guy, but he said, "Hey, I want to help you out with a couple $100." So he said, "If you have a Venmo account, I'll send you Venmo." Well, I started a Venmo account because he wanted to donate a couple $100. And then the minute he donated the couple $100, they closed my account down for fraudulent. They still got the couple $100. And they said I had more than one Venmo account. So there's people pretending to be me, starting Venmo accounts. I tried to get in there again. They wanted a picture of my ID. This is Venmo. I sent them a picture of my ID. Then they wanted a recent bank statement. So I sent them the bank statement for June. Then they wanted another. They said, that's not good enough. The third time, that's not good enough. We want a bank statement from this other bank that I don't know anything about. And I was like, there's nothing I can do. So
Yeah.
that $200, I was like, F you, Venmo, send this back to the donor. And then with TikTok, um, they closed my account down, no notice, wouldn't let me download the videos. But days prior to that, I tried to pay for advertisement. I want my story out in the worst way. I had a few bucks. I think it was $40. And I was like, well, I want to promote one of my videos sharing my book. So they took my money. They took my money to promote my book, and then they denied me the right to promote it. They said your video is not good enough to promote. So they took my money. Then they took me off of TikTok. So they stole my money, and then they owed me money because if you get so many views and when you go live, people can donate little hearts and things, and it adds up to, $5, $10 or whatever while you're doing a live video. They stole that too. And they're supposed to let you download all that within 4 days, nothing. So they really, really put the ringer to me.
Okay.
You know,
So Venmo is a we're not going to use Venmo anymore.
No, definitely not. They won't even let me access the account. I tried to give the money back to the man that sent it to me, and they even denied me from giving it back to the man that sent it to me.
Yeah. Well, they're owned by PayPal. And I shut both of them down a few years ago. They were messing with my money because, of course, you have to give them access to your bank accounts. They were messing with my money, and that's not allowed. So I shut them down. They're not, I changed my account and everything.
Yeah, with Venmo, I have a PayPal account.
Yeah.
Actually, TikTok was putting money into the PayPal account. That's why I started it.
Yeah.
Because if somebody donated, sent their little gifts on a live, it would go into PayPal. So Venmo and PayPal are the same company, but I tried to add my PayPal card. They wanted information on Venmo. So I even added, they're the same company. I added my PayPal information.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they still wouldn't accept it. So they're like this to John.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the more you're censored, the more you're close to the truth, right? And the only thing you can do is keep talking, keep sharing and promoting. And that's why, doing the videos, giving the books out, just talking to people in your travels is the way to go. So, like I'll talk to people, and if they don't have any curiosity, that's where it ends. But sometimes people will say, what? Are you talking to the real? And I'll say, yeah. And I give kind of a little quick overview of the story. And if they want to know more, then I give a little bit more. All right. And of course, then I'll give them this channel so that they'll watch the videos. So not everyone has curiosity.
I was just looking for a King Smarty
Sticker.
sticker on my mug, and it either fell off or
Oh
we forgot
man,
to
are
put
you in
one on this
trouble?
mug. So,
You're in trouble,
Robin,
dude.
we got to put a frequency sticker on here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there's a lot of comments in our chat today about certain celebrities being dead, and that's from the current time frame. And we know that a lot of the celebrities are dead, and they're being played by imposters in various forms. So all of those that have been mentioned, I think, are no longer with us on Earth plane. But that's
It
been
is,
happening for years and years and years.
it is so crazy at the top.
Yeah,
The United States is a prize. It's a crime ring. It's a gang. It's just like any street gang, but it's more powerful at the top,
yeah.
and everything is connected. So it gets brutal. It gets crazy. It's all about these people's millions of dollars. And I had shared a story about how I had been waterboarded at Guantanamo, and there's a lot of talk about executions, military executions, and I've heard it on, Hillary was executed at Guantanamo. I've heard all this stuff on the internet, what to believe, what not to believe.
Right.
Um, when it comes down to treason, though, our military has the right to take care of business. And I haven't shared this with anyone, but I've shared my stories of being on Guantanamo and being waterboarded and tortured, being hit out. But I've always been, I'm a sworn Secret Service agent, so I got to hang out with Hillary, and Hillary wouldn't fly on an airplane with me one time because she knew there was a hit on me. They love plane crashes, but she refused to get on an airplane, and I believe it might have been Sam Walton's plane. Sam Walton was the start of Sam's Club, which branched out to Walmart. Well, Hillary Clinton sat on the board of Walmart. So organized crime is so involved in where you go shopping and everything else, but she would not fly with me on that plane. So I knew Hillary. I knew Bill Clinton. Um, I was there the day Bill Clinton groped my fake mom. Um, I was there a couple different times with Bill Clinton to know that he was organized crime, part of organized crime. But when I was on Guantanamo, I've never shared this. I don't even know if I should, but I'm going to share it anyway. Hillary Clinton was standing there, and there was military men, and they held a trial to execute her. I was like, you can't do that. You cannot execute her. They pulled Hillary Clinton into another room and pulled off her mask. So everybody's saying Hillary got executed at Guantanamo, but the lady that was actually executed when the mask came off was a brunette, and she was saying, "This is fucked up. This is fucked up." And Wayne said, "Carry it out." So the girl in the mask, the woman, I'm guessing she was in her 30s, was probably a Soviet spy pretending to be Hillary Clinton. And she was executed. But it wasn't Hillary that was executed that day. It was a woman. And I still, even after she was like, "This is messed up," but after the mask came off, I was like, you still shouldn't be executing this woman. But they did anyway. And I'm a witness to that. Um, so there's so much spin that goes on that people don't realize. And the masks and the identity theft, it's huge. But that's my story. Um, what I saw at Guantanamo that day. So if people are saying Hillary, but maybe, with spin, maybe Hillary was actually executed. Um, but the lady I saw in this, and it looked just like Hillary to me. Um, but when the mask came off, it was actually someone pretending to be the first lady.
About what year was that, or how long ago was that? I mean, we don't need
Uh,
to have it
I
exact.
would I would have to think about it. It was about the same time I was waterboarded. um, and hid out. I would have, before I gave you a date, I would have to think about what put the
Okay,
time zones in there.
okay.
But that's what I saw, and I heard other people saying, yeah, Hillary was executed at, I'm a personal eyewitness. They were sharing their story, but they didn't take off the mask until after the trial. So the person on trial was Hillary, but after being convicted of treason by our military, the mask came off and it was not him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, everyone knows that there's multiple Hillarys out there as there are multiple Trumps. And I'm I'm feeling like this might have been, say, let's just say 20 years ago or more, just taking a stab in the dark. And that was early. That was early for her to be like brought out in the open. Like we know that there was corruption going on even before they were in office. I say
But
they, but
yeah, but it sure gets crazy at the top, especially with identity theft. The way and
yeah.
my book and my life story is a great example of how they do it. The whole world, knew John
Right,
John, and he had no Kennedy blood whatsoever,
right,
none. But organized crime,
right.
it's a
Well,
big prize.
they do a lot of age progression with his face, and they bring out like what he looks like now, and he's going to be the VP, and he's got these channels, and he puts out like intel and trust the plan stuff and videos. So there is a group out there actively trying to be him for some reason, right?
Yeah, well, that's part of Donald Trump. See, I'm exposing Donald Trump, but that's Donald Trump Jr. Um, that leaks down to Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah,
George Magazine. George Magazine and Juan Ho or whatever his name is that runs it now. I'm exposing. They stole everything from me. Um, George was his real name, so he was putting his real name out there. Organized crime loves putting it right out there in front of your face.
right,
But
right.
it's the same. It's the same crime ring. These people with George Magazine, Donald Trump Jr., and all these photos that you see of my stepbrother. They're all age progression, fake, photoshopped.
Right,
You can
right.
match them with any photo, any age progression photo. You can match them back to public photos. They're taking
Yeah,
public photos off the internet, adding age progression. And with that said, if you people want to play around and do a little playing with the apps they have on age progression, all the childhood photos up to the age of 10 are me. Pick one out and it'll scare you. It scared me because I was a child at 3 years old, and Robin did an age progression on me, and it
right.
came up to this ugly mug right here, and I was like, "That is me, 100%."
Yeah,
But yeah, modern technology and age progression and what they can do. She also got a picture of the John the whole world knew, my stepbrother George, and did the D age on it, and it didn't even come close. It looked just like him as a child when we shared the picture side by side when we were in school. Um, it's awesome technology, but what are they using it for? And with identity theft, are they scanning our facial recognition? I've been asked many times, well, how did they get the body doubles that look just like them? Well, they use a lot of Hollywood and masks and things now. When my mom was killed and replaced, they used plastic surgery. This was in the 70s, and dental work, and then strong arm tactics and fear, um, and said, hey, you're going to live a life of wealth, but you're going to do what we tell you from now
yeah,
on.
yeah.
But it's crazy, huge crazy on
Yeah.
what they can do now.
Also, when you're not looking for it, let's say you put a guy in a dress, you do his hair, makeup, blah, 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 and you say it's so and so, and they're a close look-alike, you're not looking for it not to be so and so. We go along with it until we start to wake up, and then we start looking for those signs, which are everywhere. It's pretty shocking, actually.
And
But,
I'm sure most of
yeah,
us have been in the grocery store and said, hey, that looks like so and so, or that looks like so and so. Um, Me and Robin were out the other day, and she was asking me what this person looked like, and I couldn't describe this person to her. And then there was a waitress, and I said, "You see that waitress right there? You asked me about that person the other day." I said, "With a little makeup, that would be, I could make her the identical twin."
Yeah,
So if you want to know what that person looked like, look at this gal right here.
yeah,
And because, and then with the face, our government, our agencies, they have millions and millions and millions of people on their database, just the driver's licenses and every other thing. With facial recognition, they just have to push one button and they can come up with a dozen matches to you,
right.
that are so close with a little nip and a tuck there, and you're that person. You're the new Donald Trump now.
Right. Well, and I've seen these videos on YouTube. They'll take like we're gonna just say a homeless person that's lived a rough life and they're 70 or 80, and they will make her into a supermodel with a makeup alone. And it's actually quite fascinating, what someone could do with just knowledge of how to use makeup. Crazy.
Yeah, and we were talking on my live on YouTube a little bit ago. We were talking. Somebody brought up Donald Trump's wife and her payment to be his wife. The mafia, organized crime, the Gambino family, and I'm straight out saying right here, Donald Trump is a member of the Gambino crime family. Straight up in your face. Um, but we were talking about the payment. She was sitting on a jet plane and she had a briefcase full of jewels sitting in front of her. Organized crime loves payoffs. They love putting beautiful people with people like Donald Trump. They needed Donald Trump to have a beautiful wife to win the election, and they gave him one. They probably don't even like each other, but they were placed together for money, for power. That's how they work. And they put it right in front of your face. And I'm the best example I know of how they did that with my stepbrother, made him man of the year, Mr. Pretty Boy, and he had no Kennedy blood whatsoever. He was placed by organized crime, the Gambino crime family. He thought he was going to be the next John Gotti. He even told me that one day. He said, "I'm going to be the next John Gotti. I'm going to run New York City for the mafia. I'm going to run it all," he said. Well, you see what he got in the plane crash. That was a definite mob hit. He ain't coming back. He wanted to be more than he actually was.
Right.
And they took his life because he was taking people's lives that he shouldn't have took. Um, when you're a member of organized crime and you start killing people just like John Gotti did, killing people to climb the ladder, you're killing family members. They don't understand. Well, maybe they do. Maybe they just think they're not getting caught, but it's one big family.
Yeah.
So when they go after a family member to try to climb the ladder, they kill another crime member's loved one, and it's all out after that. They're the best at what they have, no mercy. They're the most ruthless crime family, and they'll kill you in a plane crash and put a quarter in there with George on it and say, "Hey, George, you fucked up," and we let you know, the whole world know you fucked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this guy running with Donald Trump and being the vice president, people, you're being lied to. The spin is so deep. It's time you woke up to what I'm saying and see some truth.
The whole Trump versus Biden game, it's quite distracting. Like everyone's watching this, complaining about this, pointing out this. Like again, I don't waste my time on that anymore because I know it's not real, right? It's not a real thing. It's all set up. Both parties are corrupt. The system does not work. The system is corrupted. So it doesn't matter who you vote for. Why waste your time getting all worked up about who's doing what or who's not doing what? It doesn't matter. That does not matter, you know?
No, I don't. I like using the scenario good cop, bad cop.
Yeah,
For instance, you're
yeah,
in a car and you get pulled over, and you get pulled over by these two cops. One of them is like, "Hey, asshole, I smell weed. You've been smoking some pot." And then the other cop comes to the other side of the door and says, "Hey, brother, um, you know, It's all right. I smoke it myself. And you just tell me where that joint is, and you'll be on your way. And then you say, well, it's right there in the ashtray. And that cop that just called you his brother, and it's okay, puts handcuffs on you and throws you in the back of the car for smoking a joint. I mean, this is in the old days. Now it's legal. But that's the perfect scenario. And I don't know, I've been through that scenario, but it's good cop, bad cop. There's the same side. They're both going to throw you in jail. And it's the same way in reality. The American people are in chains from these people.
Right.
And whatever happens, whether it's Biden or Trump, we're still going to be in the chains, people. We're still putting the handcuffs put on us. We're still getting taken to jail because they're playing us. They're playing us for suckers. They want us to wave the flag for one of them, but they're both put in place. They're selected, not elected.
True, true. I was just thinking back, you just gave us the Gitmo story with Hillary. And the fact that she would not get on a plane with you was very telling. I mean, you noticed that at the time, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I was real young. I would have to look back on the dates, but I was real young.
Yeah.
With that said, back then, I was told, and they fucked with my head. They tortured me. They abused me. They lied to me over and over again, but they messed with my head. And I've never said this, I don't believe in public ever. But they told me Hillary Clinton was my real sister Caroline.
Oh,
And back then, I kind of believed it because if you look at pictures of my young sister Caroline and you look at Hillary in her younger days, she's got the pug nose, she's got the big jaw. But when they told me that, it was like, I came not to believe anything they said, but, they told me my stepbrother, the one that replaced me, was my brother. I didn't believe it then. But he actually was. So sometimes they tell you the truth, sometimes they don't. But when they said George was my stepbrother, he was actually my stepbrother through another. So he was no relation, but he actually, my mom married into the family. And Aristotle, had this, illegitimate son with this another. So he would have been my stepbrother, but no blood relation.
right,
So
right.
sometimes they lie to you, sometimes they tell you the truth. They told me back then it was for my own good, for my safety, for my protection. But what they did was they actually let all these organized crime members infiltrate our government. They allowed it to happen. They stood back and watched it happen. So I'm hoping they stood back and now they're taking care of business on finding out who the criminals really are. But they've stood back too long. They actually stood back too long and allowed it all to happen.
Yeah, yeah. And again, if you're an individual, you can understand some people are basically forced to do what they do because of threats to their lives, their family, whatever. But it's really the ones that are willing and excited to do it to other people that bother me the most. Like,
I don't know if you can hear me, Sue, but you froze up. We'll see if Sue comes back.
do you do you want to try to log back in? Oh, there you are.
Oh, yeah, you're back. You were froze up.
Yeah, you were froze up. I'm like,
You were froze up. We start talking and getting hardcore subjects.
yeah,
That always happens. It
yeah.
always does. But we're getting to the truth. You people just saw what they were doing when we were in the middle of a conversation about people, and
Yeah.
I even lost my train of thought on what we were speaking about. But
Well, I was going to ask this question. I know you were under MK Ultra much of your life, and of course, as a boy, you're told X or Y, you believe it. You're innocent. You don't know any better. There did come a time that you started to distrust what people were saying, I'm assuming. They would tell you something and you'd be in your mind, not true, but you had to kind of go along with the game, I'm assuming. Is that
Yeah, they told me many times. What I was going to say is that one man that tried to take my life that one time, and I caught him, put a gun to his head, and told him I was going to take his life if he didn't talk. And I was serious as a heart attack. I would have killed that man in a minute for trying to kill me. And he came out of his mouth. He said, "They have my children. They made me do it. They would kill my children if I didn't." That's the only reason why that man is, I don't know, he could be dead now, but that's why I did not take his life. So they use strong arm tactics with a
yeah,
lot of people. You know, family is everything, and they have no mercy. They're organized crime members at the most despicable. They
yeah,
use people
yeah,
to do their crimes, and there's so many ways. But yeah, I was going to share that um, because they're ruthless.
yeah,
They take advantage of people, make them do what they need to do, or they replace those people and get somebody else to do it for them.
right, right. Yeah. And it's shocking what these people will do for the lure of money, power, or fame. It's shocking. Some of them are excited about it. They've grown up thinking that's the way to be, and they have no qualms about it. It's really the people in the position like you just talked about. They're being threatened. Those I do feel sorry for because they're in a no-win situation, you know. And once
I've
they're,
been put in I've been put in no-win situations so many times,
yeah,
and you just got to keep going. You got to hope that you're not killed and hope for the best. But my life has been threatened. I've been put in so many positions. Um, it's hardcore. It's hardcore, brutal at the top. It's all about, yeah.
through a lot of physical torture, but also the psychological torture. I think one story you had, you were in a bathroom with a dead body. Like, I think most people would freak out minimally if that was the case, and you were just a younger person. That had to be horrible, horrible.
Yeah, because you're already in shock, and it was
Yeah,
it was messed up. But it was
yeah.
like you're told what to do.
Psychological.
You know how powerful these people are because there's a dead body in the bathtub that they just put there. But when they tell you you can't come out until you chop that body up or you will be killed, you tend to believe them.
Yeah,
It's not like you killed that person because the person's already dead, lying in the bathtub. So you know,
yeah,
you chop that
horrible,
person up.
horrible. Yeah. And I mean, it's like over and over, like as you read the book and you tell these stories, it's like, oh my God, like one of these stories would be enough to traumatize someone for the rest of their life. You've lived it over and over and over and over and over. Deep trauma. Horrible.
Yeah. It my life was crazy in my younger days. Um, the attempts on my life, people trying to, it was a mafia war.
Yeah.
And people just think, oh, you drive by a restaurant, shoot up some people in some gangsters, it's not that kind of war. It's a
Yeah.
secret war. It's spies learning information, getting intelligence on who these people are. It's the most powerful intelligence, So like when I would go over with my son to somebody's house and they would act really goofy and then tell me, got to leave and pull a gun out and say, you got to leave. And then the next day you see them in a van and they're covered up with a sheet. Um, it's crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've seen a lot, and a lot of it was threats on my life. Um, there's been a few times people lost their lives trying to take my life.
Well, and you know what, we've for those that have read the books and listened to the videos, you've been almost killed so many times, and yet you're still here to tell the story, which is why you're still here to tell the story, so that we awaken, we understand why they're doing it, how they do it, that it's real. This is not just a one-time thing. It's done to many people. We don't even know them all yet. So you're going to
Yeah,
be very
I
influential.
I wish I could express how real it is, how
Yeah.
real this book is. A lot of people think, "Oh, I'm just making this crap up out of the blue." No, Juan O'Salvin's making this shit up. West Coast Wizards making this up. Donald Trump Jr. and all these other people. Um, I'm bad with names, but there's many that are making a story up.
Yeah.
My story is real. It involves murder, killings, the takeover of the United States government, the power. I'm not there to try to deceive anybody like these people are. I
Yeah.
lived it. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Murders happen. People die. People are replaced. And I'm trying to share it to the world that it's coming. They have taken over our government. They put people in power, in place. They wave their flag, say, "We're going to help you. We're going to help you." It's huge. They don't want to help you. They want to help put caviar and champagne on their table.
Yeah. Among other things. But yeah. Yeah, if it whenever we talk about this, it just gives me a lot of anxiety thinking about what you went through. And I know you're not the only one. You're the one that's coming forward now. And you're, like I said, you're going to be influencing other people coming forward and telling their story, which is similar. The traumas that they've had to endure, torture, punishment, corruption, whatever it might be. It's
It's huge.
it's going to be a waterfall of information once it starts.
It is so huge because
Yeah.
it's all about money. It's all about organized crime, trying to take everybody's money. And what there's been so many victims. There's so many people out there probably that are just in fear to share it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't blame them. I was in fear my whole life. I never
Yeah.
shared my story until actually I thought I would be, was going to die. Um, I think it was 8 years ago now. But I believed them when they told me if I ever shared my story, I would be killed. I believed them. But now
Yeah.
it's like, do what you have to do.
Yeah.
I want to go out a soldier. I want to go out a warrior. This is Peace Cat, everybody. Look at that pretty cat.
She's not loving it. Beautiful cat, though. Yep. Yeah. So we just had a question. Does anyone believe that the Galactic Federation is helping? So my belief is King Smarty is helping and his team is helping, but the timing has to be right. The foundation has to be set. We don't know what the plan is right now. So we'll be seeing that really soon is my opinion. And that's why if my opinion, if you educate yourself about what's happening in society now, look, open your eyes and look around now. When the truth does come out, it's going to be less shocking. It's still going to be a shock, but consider those that don't even look outside of their little bubble of space. They're going to be extremely shocked when the truth comes out. It's a
But
big,
that said, King Smarty,
yeah,
awesome, wonderful man. He's blessed me.
yeah,
Much praise for the king.
yeah, yeah. And I've known him for years. I've never seen him do anything against in a selfish way. Obviously he's a human. He does need to eat and all of that. So he does sell products, but he gives things away. He heals people for free. He does everything with a loving heart. And that's where we all need to be, with a loving heart. And we're gonna expose these guys, and they will meet their maker. Like, we don't have to be a judge. We just have to listen to the story. I'm glad I'm not a judge. You know what I mean? I'd probably be too nice on people, but they're gonna meet their maker and have to explain themselves.
I would hate to be a judge too. That's why I always said it's kind of a joke. I said if we ever have to go to court, let's get Judge Judy to do it.
I think that's just a show for sensationalism for ratings, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But that's my opinion is we're getting our purpose now is to get information out there. Okay, to let people know the story. They're going to learn things they haven't thought about or haven't been exposed to. They're going to share the story. More people will learn. The consciousness is raised. And then when the stories come out, the truth 100% comes out, they will have less shock than the other guys. That's my thought, that how it's going to happen. So we'll see.
Can we take a quick break for
We
just a
can
minute?
take a break. In fact, we're at a good resting place, but I'll see you in a second.
Sounds good.
All right. So I've been watching the comments. Sometimes I'm not able to do that, but if you go to smartiescorner.com, you'll see the products and the free healing hollows. And then if you go on my channel, Awaken Stories, you'll see the interviews I do with Smarty. And I would suggest you start from December 2023, and you'll learn things that you've never heard before. And it's the truth. So that group that I'm in, we test everything for truth. All right, by muscle testing or using a pendulum. And everything that we've been taught is corrupted. Everything about our history, our origins, our health, our science, whatever has been corrupted. So that will all be coming out. We're all going to be shocked, I'm quite sure. And this is an instrumental story in getting the truth out there. This is one of the biggest stories out there. And we need to get it out because it's being censored heavily.
Oh, bad. Get the popcorn, people. Get the popcorn, because you all are being lied to. You've all been lied to.
Yeah.
So many lies put in front of your face. People pretending to be people they're not. It's one big movie. It's huge.
It is, it's so complex too. Like sometimes you think a good guy is the good guy and they're not. But you see, if you can step back from the emotions of the story, of the politics, of whatever's going on, you'll kind of see what's happening. It's going to fall into place beautifully. A lot of the darkness has been allowed to happen. Like these guys have been given multiple chances, and there's the story is coming out, and they're not going to be happy with their ending, I don't think, unless they have true regret. You know, that's again not my position to judge them, but what they did to you is unforgivable. Our government agencies, not just one, multiple governmental agencies, multiple rogue agents did what they did to you with free reign. They had no one to stop them, no one to speak for you. Horrible. So it's
Yeah,
gonna be,
it's crazy at the top.
yeah,
It's hard to even explain how crazy it gets, but
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
one
So
big movie. One
so
big movie.
we had a question about the white hats and Q and all that. And we talked about this before, and of course we're gonna get a lot of haters from this statement, but you know, John has said, and I'm in agreement that basically Q is a distraction. The white hats, like who are the white hats and what are they doing? Are they organized? I mean, obviously there's good guys out there, there's good military, but all of that stuff out there, trust the plan. It's been, I think, 8 years since we
Well,
did that slogan. 8 years and
I
nothing.
got a good one. I got a really good one. When I started sharing my story, they came out with the Q plan.
Yeah.
Well, my last name's Quigley. That's the name the government gave me. Big Q for Quigley. So if you want to join the Q plan, put on your white hat, follow me, share my story, join forces with the real John Kennedy Jr. That's my plan. And we're going to expose all these other criminals, all this one big mafia crime ring of deception, and march with me to the White House with your white hat on. Because when I first started sharing my story, I never heard of white hats, black hats, or any other thing. It's either good guys or bad guys. So, I guess if you got a white hat, you're a good guy. If you got a black hat, you're put your good guy hat on. Follow John Kennedy Jr. Write me a letter declaring the United States government a criminal organization,
Right,
and let's take our country back. And it's only going to take a share. It's only going to take expose it to the world,
right,
and we can do it. And
right,
that's my plan,
right,
to get my story out at all
right,
cost, any cost, because my plan exposes all the black hats. It
right.
really does.
Right. And there is a lot happening behind the scenes. Like if you're out there watching alternative, channels, you're seeing stuff happen. But the intel providers, they'll give you let's say 80% truth, the rest will be untruth. All right. And they sprinkle it in like they're the authority, that they have direct connection with the white hats or whoever it might be. None of that's true, guys. So,
They got the supercomputers on all these other channels like TikTok. They're taking down the people that are speaking the truth,
yeah.
and they're allowing all the bullshit to get out there. And they are, but the people that are speaking the truth,
Yeah.
that know what's going on, it's all on their computers. They just, let's delete these,
Yeah.
or the let's stick them all in their own little group and think they're sharing to everybody when they're not. But yeah, they're allowing the
Yeah.
bullshit and the spin. They're allowing the fake John Jr. in their little masquerades to say he's coming back to run with Trump. They're allowing all that shit to make world news. But I'm the world news, and they're, putting their boot to me.
This is the world news. That other stuff is a distraction. And it's shocking because, of course, we know the media is corrupt. They're not going to tell you the truth. They can't tell you the truth yet. So they're going to promote the party line, and that's what they're
Yeah, they
doing.
get all the owners of all these big news, Fox News and everything else, and they put them in their pocket, and then they tell them what they want you as an American to hear, or you around the world, of what you were going to hear.
Yeah.
It's been put in place for so long, and we need to expose what's really going on. Let's put some
Right.
real news on for a change.
Yeah. I think really, again, my opinion is this has to go out at the grassroots level. So that's why reading the book, watching the videos, sharing, if you can afford to give someone a book, if you can go to your library and have them buy the book, if you can write reviews for Amazon, Barnes and Noble, your library, that's all helpful because it gets the interest of other people. Then their eyes are open, then their friends' eyes are open. And then I think the shock factor for these people, us and those people that are listening to the story, will be substantially reduced.
And please do me a favor once again. I Googled myself. I Googled my book, Stolen Identity, and Alexis came up.
Yeah.
First, it was on Barnes and Noble. I would love for Barnes and Noble to start a war with advertising for free. But first, Alexis came up and said on Barnes and Noble about my book. Then the next day, I Googled myself again because that one went down, and Amazon came up with Alexis saying, on Amazon, my book's on Amazon, and it's the real John Kennedy Jr. But then I Googled myself today and nothing came up.
Yeah.
So Google my book, it will help. Just put it in the search engine, Stolen Identity, Unveiling the Real John Kennedy Jr. And let's get the search engines working for us. Let's let them know hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah.
people are looking for me online.
Yeah.
Let's let them do
Yeah.
some free advertisement for John
Yeah.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I'm gonna change the description and take Venmo out. So you can write a check if you prefer to donate to, unfortunately, the name will be David Quigley, legally at the bank, and mail it to his address. Or you can send money through Cashapp, and that's at this moment is still working correctly.
I'm still waiting for a team of lawyers. I'm waiting for a law office, somebody that wants to make world news with us and become a famous lawyer to join my cause. Um, it's crazy. I don't get
Yeah.
any comments from anybody in the military on this. You would think they're, ambulance chasers and these lawyers. You think they'd be all knocking on my door. Hey, let's make world news together. I'll prove you are who you are. It's not happening. But we got to go old school. We can't just put.
Yeah. Up. Okay, well, we're kind of at a breaking point. Oh, there you are. I was gonna say, we're at a resting point anyway, so I think we'll sign off for today and we'll be back. All right, so, send any questions over. I've been watching the comments and we usually talk about weekly and, just kind of, there's no plan. We just talk. So it's fun.
That is fun, and I appreciate you so much with all my heart, Sue. You are
Appreciate you.
awesome.
Yeah.
I look forward to Tuesdays to chat with you again. Let's build your audience up to millions to hear our story.
Well,
That would make my day. That really
I've
would.
been censored and attacked, and it's really not about me. Okay, my goal, like my interest is getting truth out there, the real truth, and not what we were taught to believe. Everything we believe is wrong, and I'm always shocked when I learn something new. So I want other people to have an access to that kind of truth as well. The stuff I'm interested in. There's
And
no
if
agenda.
everybody else share, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Thank you
Let's
so
get the truth out.
Thanks so much. I'll talk